For context, I have worked at the same store now for 4 years working various positions and as such have had many encounters worthy of posting, but this event will always stand out to me because of the sheer absurdity of it. The cast, Karen me/I supervisor. The story, when I was hired for the second time at the company, story for another day, I was given the checking clerk position. It only took 3 days for my first incident to happen. The day startled like any other, but midway though the shift Karen came to my till asking to buy $1,500 in green dot cards and activation fees. For those who don't know, green dot cards are special for 2 reasons. Reason 1, unlike ordinary gift cards, our system at least at the time put a small amount of money on the card as soon as it was scanned, and reason 2, they are payable by cash only because they have all the functionality of a debit/checking card. So far nothing out of the ordinary aside from the high transaction balance. Red flag number 1, despite it clearly informing her on the packaging of the card itself that it can only be paid with cash, she tries to pay with a credit card. When I relay this to her, she insists that I run it though anyway, error payment type not allowed. Debate of her insisting there is cash on the card and me trying to explain that the card didn't decline, it was rejected because the system won't allow it because it is cash payment only. At this point she demands a manager because I am being unhelpful and clear don't know how to do my job. At this point I still had a temporary name badge with new hire printed on it. Red flag number 2, while we were waiting on the supervisor she kept trying to convince me to let her have custody of the green dot cards and me repeatedly stating due to the type of cards you are attempting to purchase as company policy prohibits me from handing them to you until the transaction is completed. This is because there was already money on them and if she took them and ran she could transfer that money off the card before we could void it. The supervisor came and promptly told her not only was there no way to override it but even if she could she wouldn't because it is clearly against the terms of the product she wanted to buy. Red flag number 3, she pulls out a wad of $100 bills and starts to count out the amount need, but when it picked them up they looked off to say the least. In detail, they were printed on ordinary printer paper, apparently on the black and white ink setting, they were the wrong size, and they weren't even cut straight. At that, rather than say anything to her, just reached for the intercom and requested a supervisor. She asked why I did that and I told a half-truth informing her that large cash transaction required supervisor approval, which provided the bills don't look more fake than Disney bucks they do, but the real reason is I wanted a witness when I told her there was no way I was going to accept these bills. The supervisor returns and I ask her for a second option on the validity of these bills. She glanced at them for all of 2 seconds before telling Karen to return these bills to wherever she got them from because they are fake and illegal to possess, and asks if she has any other legal tender cash to pay with. Karen says no and the supervisor collects the cards and voids the transaction, taking both the card and void receipt for evidence, but returns the fake bills to Karen. She later left after some more complaining but nothing ever came of it. Later one of my CO workers approached me and said to me they recognized her from their other job and she supposedly has been banned from every other store in the area, not just our company, for trying this same song and dance there. A few notes. 1. Due to policy we couldn't confiscate the fake cash on the, in this case, incredibly slim chance it was real. 2. We for whatever reason do not have security or loss prevention at this store and associates are expected to deal with their own problems and safety. 3. Because of the no security situation we couldn't detain her till the police arrived. 4. We did however call the police to report it and let every other store in the state know of her. 5. I have way more stories than this that have shaped my transition from fresh-faced new hire to bitter and jaded supervisor/bookkeeper.